Joe Rogan kind of thing. I was going to do a countdown, but he didn't give me the countdown. I don't know why. And we're live already. No countdown. I was going ominously say 4, 3, 2. But here we are. So this evening, evening for me, everyone else. I'm sure right there where Mike is lunchtime.
Just
Right in
about,
the
yeah.
right in the middle of your lunchtime. Are you eating anything, by the way?
No, earlier I did, so I'm all good, man.
Oh, your teeth brush and all that. I was going to say you're welcome to it and have a beer as well if you want to. I was going to grab my dinner as well, but I would want to avoid you guys hearing me chewing. So I do have Mike Murphy with me right here on this live stream. And welcome to another Lewis Michael show. Just really like the name says. This is a showcase where I bring on upcoming and current new hot indie creators with their projects, future projects, current projects that has just been launched in some way or another. Usually, I leave the seasoned veterans for one-on-one interviews, but tonight it is a one-on-one anyway, as I only have one guest this evening. So the creator of Samurai and Dinosaurs. And every time I say these titles, just I kind of think Cadillacs and dinosaurs. I mean, these, well, all these dinosaurs really are. I mean, it's a well that will never dry up. They're all also brought back into the forefront for one way or another. So, and you have an interesting concept, and that's what I like. That's what I bring here. People that have a cool, interesting concepts. This one involves some sort of time traveling that you might want to disclose a few of the secrets behind the story, and it involves samurai as well. Before I go into it, I just wanted to ask you, what is
Yeah.
a chibi? Because
Okay.
I'll give you just a little of a backstory. I have grown up with manga, concurrent to American comics and European comics. But I don't know what the shibi and the furry is. I mean, I have an idea what the furry is, as it has to do with fur. But
Uh-huh.
take it away. What is the shibi? Because I know your website has something to do with that. So just explain that to
Sure.
me.
Sure. Well, the less you know about furries, the better. All right. So basically, our company is named Chibi Comics. The origin of it dates back to when my wife and I first started dating. We're originally from Chicago and we relocated to Portland. And while we were living in Chicago, she had a cat, and the cat's name was Chibi. That's why the logo for our company is a little black cat face. So its name was Chibi because in manga and anime, Chibi is an art style that's I guess the easiest way to describe it would be super deformed. Like you take a character and you reduce its proportions down to like the tiniest, barest essentials. So like a giant face, a little tiny body, and little tiny arms. It's just like a cute cartoony style that really appeals to like younger kids and teenagers. And so yeah,
Hmm.
that's where the name comes from in a nutshell.
Got it. Okay, listen, I'm on your website, and what do you guys do? You have a web store basically. So you say it's a company. So you guys are an imprint. You have several books published, because I'm just on your homepage right here, and I'm about to scroll down, and I can share this if you like. But what do you guys what sort of stuff you have on your website?
Sure, sure. Well, I mean, you're free to share it, but at this point, we're like, depending on how Samurai and Dinosaurs goes, we're basically going to be retooling the entire website and expanding it by adding an Etsy storefront, kind of like what Alterna Comics does.
Yes.
So yeah, like right now, like the website is kind of in process, so to speak. As a company, we offer freelance services. We do freelance writing, illustration, we do coloring work, lettering work, editing, consultation, stuff like that. And that's most of our bread and butter when it comes to our day jobs. as far as publishing, for the most part, over the past couple of years, we've stuck to mainly submissions, which dovetails into us kind of relaunching, our company and trying to make a go of it with Samurai and Dinosaurs. We reached a point where we realized that not only was mainstream comics not particularly interested in us, but even if they were, where it's at currently, they couldn't really afford to, pay us a living wage. So yeah, like, we reached this point where it's like, okay, well, instead of just kind of banging our heads against the wall and putting submission after submission in, how about we regroup, refocus, and just really make a push with, independent publishing and selling direct to the consumers.
Right.
So we do have a handful of titles. For the most part, the main thing that we do every year is we put out an independent kids book called For Hire, and we do that on Free Comic Book Day every year.
Hmm.
That might be something that we look into collecting and repackaging next year on Indiegogo, depending on how like the next 2 or 3 campaigns go.
All right. Okay. So, Mike, you mentioned that this is your daytime job. So you guys actually offer consulting. I'm actually seeing here on your homepage. So you offer services for anybody trying to do a comic, right? You offer colorist, flatter, letterer. I guess you suppose you're a script consultant as well. So those are
Right.
services you offer on your website, and this is actually, like you mentioned, this is your bread and butter. So.
Yeah, and like honestly, what's interesting about our quote unquote day job is a lot of the work that we do kind of falls outside of comics.
Mhm.
Like we last year, I did writing for a video game company based out of China. I've done video game reviews. I've done editing and script consulting, and Selena is kind of all over the place. Like she'll work for arts and crafts companies. Her work's all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
So
well, all right.
so yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say. So yeah, like that was part of it too. Like we reached this point where it's like, well, our heart is in comics. That's what we really want to be doing.
Mhm.
So maybe if we could make a go of this, like we can start easing back on the freelance work and dedicating more of ourselves to just strictly the comics work.
On the creative, the actual process of doing comic titles and getting them out there, obviously, and selling them. Yeah, that sounds that sounds reasonable and logical. So,
Sure.
well, let me plug this for you, man, because obviously you guys have this on offer. You offer services, so you need this as well to keep it going, to keep the business going.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
let me plug this for you. I'll drop a link for it at the end of the video under the description of this stream. But and let me just ask you, I'm on a Tumblr page. Is this your actual homepage, or you have another website proper?
Yeah, for the time being, the Tumblr page is our main page. When we launch the Etsy storefront, we may tie it to a website proper,
Mhm.
which would all be set up later this year.
Okay, that's fine. So people can get in touch with you through this Tumblr page anyway, right?
That's
Okay.
correct.
So I'll just quickly screen share, and we'll leave on screen share anyway, because right next to that we're gonna jump on Samurai and Dinosaur. Let me just do the little thing here. Okay, man. Let me just say what it's called. So Chibi Comics pdx.tumblr.com. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's it. Chibi Comics pdx.tumblr.com. Okay, we'll drop the link for this, and hopefully everybody's seeing this. You offer a few services here, and you can get in touch with you guys directly.
There we go.
Have you just become a father recently? I've seen
Oh
you.
yeah.
I've seen a little picture below as a baby there. You were, I
Yeah.
presume it's you with a big sword there. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
It's,
Yeah, yeah. We had Clark about 7 months ago now, and when we first found out that Selena was pregnant, we worked up that illustration as an announcement card.
awesome. It's the best time of your life. I can guarantee you that. Can promise though, in about 17 years down the road, you won't be getting your ass kicked. Because they come to an age where they start trying to ascertain some domain over the enclosure. So
Right.
the Cubs usually, that's the time they start to trying to get a bit of ownership of the clan. So, but until then, I tell you, it's wonderful. You get to teach your clone. Yeah, that's the only clones we will ever have in our lives, and we get to teach them everything and behave exactly like you behave. If you can.
Yeah, no, we're enjoying it as much as we can right now.
It's great, man. Beautiful. Okay, very good. So tell me, um, well, you just explained to us. Obviously, you guys have been dealing with comics for some time. So what exactly is your background in comics? I mean, have you had some other books published in the past through a label, something? I mean, I read that you're also an artist besides being the writer, although you've given away the art to someone else for this particular graphic novel, the Samurai Dinosaurs. But what other stuff have you done that is perhaps out there that people could most likely check it out and even purchase?
Sure. Well, for the most part, there's for hire, like I mentioned earlier, and all of the earlier work that we've done, we're in the process of delisting. Actually, like we had a handful of titles on Comixology and through Gumroad for direct download. We're in the process of kind of scrubbing a lot of that stuff, especially the digital works, because for instance, the book that Sergio and he's the artist on Samurai and Dinosaurs. The book that we did before Samurai and Dinosaurs was called Nothing Ever Lasts, and it was a superhero book. Depending on how Samurai does, at some point next year, we might be re-releasing that, with a new title and new artwork, and redoing some of the writing. So, I mean, for all intents and purposes, we're trying to make this our big introduction to the larger comic book crowd at large. Like Selena does a weekly web comic, which you can find on her Twitter feed.
Hmm.
And there's another title that we did called The Gods Fear Me, and that's actually going to be our next Indiegogo project, provided Samurai and Dinosaurs is a success. So yeah, hopefully by the end of the year, there should be two or three titles that should be up for sale from us.
Awesome, awesome. We're gonna have to check that online comic from Selena. So Samurai and Dinosaurs. So basically, you have a. I heard you plug already, so I know you've been in some streams. Well, that's where I heard you talking about the project, although I seen it before that.
Mhm.
I'll probably save you a little bit of saliva, and I'll
No
just do the
problem.
plug for you. So you have a story set in medieval Japan, where some samurai face some dinosaurs out of nowhere, which apparently have arrived at a particular location through some sort of rift in the space time continuum, right?
That's
Um,
correct.
man, I always, well, first of all, I love time travel stories. It's probably, I'm not say probably, it is my favorite kind of premise in sci-fi, because you can do so much with it. And
Yeah, it's up there for me too. I really enjoy it.
I mean, You can do a lot of stuff in sci-fi. You can have the typical space opera. You can have the body horror kind of stuff. Mixing kind of genetics, mutations, and all that. But time travel really is it takes the icing. And yeah, I saw these samurai dinosaurs, and I kind of thought, cool. This is like a rippling time. This is like the butterfly effect. Like anything that can be changed, in the past will have repercussions in the future. So I kind of he got me into that mode, into that mood of that sort of stuff. Um, Okay, and now if you want, you can give us your pitch more in depth of what actually you guys are planning to do with sort of where the story actually goes without obviously telling us the third act. But you have a comprehensive cast of characters here. Is this
Mhm.
because obviously I heard as well your passion for Kurosawa, and obviously the Seven Samurai came to mind. And are you
Right.
taking it that wide? You have a nice cast of grindy samurais. How does it go?
Yeah, so the book is, it's kind of our love letter to both, the art house and grindhouse cinema films. So not just Kurosawa, but stuff like the Lone Wolf and Cub films from the late 70s and early 80s. So yeah, a lot of that stuff is in there, and so the this meteorite crashes and causes a rift in space and time. Like the in the book, it's referred to as a thorn in time, and these elite samurai are dispatched to go and investigate what's going on because there are reports that monsters are kind of terrorizing the countryside. So it becomes basically a road movie at that point, and along the journey to their destination, space and time kind of begins to break down and fracture and not function properly around them. And that's when we start folding in the dinosaur attacks. And by the time they get to the cabin, which is towards the middle of the second act, that's when like everything's up for grabs. And both eras are kind of existing in the same space at the same time.
Hmm. So you're the sole writer on this. Is that right? Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. And who's the artist then?
Yeah, the artist is Sergio Calvé. He's a European cartoonist based out of Barcelona.
All right. Okay. Another Spaniard. Very good.
Yes,
Awesome.
yes.
Okay, so we're looking at the first dozen pages of the book. So you guys went for a black and white kind of grayscale kind of effect. Is this so? Does this guy works digitally? Is this all digital?
Yeah, some of the ink wash is done digitally, some of it is done, by hand. But then the ink wash that he did, practically he scanned in
Mhm.
and dropped it in Photoshop.
All right. So this is done traditionally the inks, and then even partial of the even partially the coloring the gray,
Right.
and then is some added digital to it. Okay, fine. And okay, so I can see your pages here. Your pages here are they're very compact, very dense, meaning you guys have a choice here of 3 to 4 panels per page, usually in this kind of horizontal structure, like reminding a little bit of a kind of a widescreen panels,
Right.
especially here in these first pages. Um, is this harking back a little bit to? Well, obviously, there is the obvious connotation with manga, but is it since you guys are using such sparse amount of panels? Is it this really kind of making a facsimile of most traditional mangas? This presentation of a book, taking into consideration if the whole book is like this, so very just kind of these compact pages, what I call compact pages, when you basically instead of putting like 8 or 9 panels in it, or just making a instead of it making just like 2 or 3 panels or a full bleed. Is this how the whole book is?
For the most part, yeah. Like I think we average between 4 to 6 panels a page. There are a couple that have somewhere around 7, 8, or even 9 panels to them, but
Oh, okay.
the way I generally write is I like to save the higher panel count for when we need to either slow the action down and let the reader really sit with what's happening, or when there's a lot of information via dialogue or caption boxes to convey.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so aside from that, like I like to keep it between 4 and 6 because um, my approach as a writer is to try to stay out of the way of the artist as much as possible.
Okay, and you keep the action brisky and fast. Okay, cool. That's
Yeah,
fine. Yeah, and these will be published in the regular U.S. comic format.
yeah, that's correct.
Okay, awesome. Again, because when I'm looking at these pages, it kind of reminds me a little bit of some of the manga editions. They're like pocket-sized books, and as I'm looking at these pages, I'm thinking of that. I'm very compact, very the action is basically very open, very sparse, and I'm thinking, this could look cool as well as a little pocketbook mini edition, because you have
Yeah,
quite a few. It's quite a high page count, isn't it? You guys are 100 and something pages, isn't it?
yeah, 110 pages.
All right, okay, cool. So let's have a look at your what do they call in Indiegogo here? Is it tiers or pledges? And
I think perks. Yeah,
a
there you go.
perk. That's right, a perk. Perk sounds like the name of a bird.
It does.
All right, okay. So here we go, man. We have for $8, you get the digital copy, full book, digital copy. You guys are planning a September delivery, but your book is all done, or you're still working on it?
The book is done. Sergio has gone back in and he's redone some of the pages, and I'm currently revising some of the dialogue and caption stuff here and there.
Yeah.
The book is done. Mainly, what we're giving it time for is one of the perks at the $30 level is I'm going to be producing, like, writing and drawing all on my own. A 16-page prequel comic called The Cabin.
Right.
So I'm going to need a month or two to knock that out. And also, we have a stretch goal at 12,000 for a gallery. And there is an artist or two that I've reached out to who is potentially interested, but some of them won't be free till around like June or July.
All right. Okay. So that's why you gave it a little bit of extra time.
Yeah.
Well, I can't fault you for wanting to go back and redo some pages and edit the text a little bit. Is the more the merrier. It's always welcoming to revise your own work. The problem is that when we start doing that, we never stop. So
Oh yeah, totally.
eventually, someone has to come behind us and say, "Okay, man, it's enough. It's enough. Let me pull the plug. No, I gotta do more. It can be better. No, 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 just enough. Enough. A couple of smacks, and that's it. You're back to reality." But
Right. Well, specifically in Sergio's case, we kind of had to get this done as soon as possible because this year he's completely booked up on a couple other projects with some other writers. So he's done. Like when this hopefully when this funds, like it'll be completely on my end to fulfill all this stuff.
mhm. Okay.
So yeah, like the core art itself, like all 110 pages, is done.
Right. Yeah. Got you. Okay. Well, September, you got plenty of time to do whatever adjustments you feel like. Let me just go through the perks again.
Sure.
So for any interested potential buyers, so then the 20 bucks will give you the full physical copy, and then at 30 bucks you got the digital, the print, and that little extra story that you just mentioning about, the one that you're going to be artifying yourself,
Right.
and 50 bucks a swag bag. All right, awesome. So you got some merchandise here.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
is a
we've
swag
got
bag?
a poster,
Hmm.
two we've got a poster, two postcards, and I'll be doing so when you think about movies, like one of the things you always see, especially like on, collector's editions like Blu-rays and stuff,
Yeah.
is there's a gallery, and it's usually like production stills or like behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be drawing this illustration of Sergio and I as if we were the stop motion animator and director on the film, and I'll be behind the camera, and he'll be setting up a shot with one of the dinosaurs, and the cast in the background will be reacting to the dinosaur.
That's awesome. So it's like a making of.
Yeah,
But okay, that's cool. I like that. I like the idea of the dinosaurs being stop motion puppets.
yeah,
That's awesome. And
yeah.
135, you got the obligatory support the troops perk. So you get 2 copies of Samurai and Dinosaurs, and 3 copies distributed to the deployed troops. Very nice. And then 3 perks here, all of them at 160. All right, cool. You're giving away the original art pages, specifically page 9, page 15, and page 83. Any specific reason why those 3 pages?
Sure. Like those are the ones that over the first time we ran this campaign and now the second one, those are the ones that kind of jumped out to the readers the most, and they really clamored on. So
All right.
one of them's been sold already. I believe it's the Brontosaurus reveal page. In the update section, I have the
Mhm.
previews for all these pages.
Yeah, you're right.
Uh,
I just scroll down now. Page 73 is gone already, so it must be that one.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, that's the big Brontosaurus reveal, like kind of our like homage shot to Jurassic Park.
Right.
So yeah, like there's the raptor attack. There's Ren, our main character, arriving at the city. Uh, so like there were specific pages that it was clear, like, okay, well, if Sergio was to ship over 6 of them to me from Spain,
Mhm.
uh, those would be the ones most likely to go.
Right. Okay. And he did that. So yeah, take advantage of that. That's great. It's yeah, I always find it difficult how to do that when hiring an artist, and you work with a guy, and you do the book, and then who keeps the art usually? It's always a tricky thing to do because I mean, obviously, I don't know how you guys did your deal, but usually it's my understanding that and this sorry, and this I'm asking as a question, putting the question out there, not only
Mhm.
to you but to anyone, because it's actually a genuine query. Because I rarely actually have to farm out for the art. When I do, is always it's always kind of a 50-50 situation where sometimes I actually hire the artist and commission the art, and then I actually ask for it to be sent to me for particular reasons. And sometimes I don't ask that. If it's like, for example, proof of concept kind of stuff,
Mhm.
or exploration sketches and stuff like that, or just like a one-off print and all that. I usually don't ask for that back. So in your case, or in your opinion, what's what's the best thing to do here? I mean, should the creator, writer, or the guy that is basically funding the project, should he actually keep the original art, since he has commissioned it and he has paid for it, or is there some sort of kind of a line there where the artist has some what shall we call it, some sort of ownership entitlement to actually keep the art even though he has been paid for it? What is the deal? What is usually done with these kind of situations from your point of view?
Sure. Well, the way we play it is, as a studio, we're reserving the rights to publish the art in a collected edition, and the artists, when we contract out, the artists are allowed to keep the originals. It's their work.
Right. Okay.
Um, So yeah, and specifically with Sergio, because we've known him for so long and worked on so many different projects with him, it's kind of understood, like, this is a 50-50 ownership thing. Like, this is half mine, this is half yours, and as far as the artwork itself goes,
Hmm.
you keep that, and if you want to sell it at conventions across Europe, that's your right to do so.
Awesome.
So he's being generous in sending them off this way, and like, we are going to be splitting the profits, given that if all the pages sell.
Right. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. So basically, you kind of let the artist keep his stuff. Always gives them a little bit more cash in the future, and because obviously you go on to sell multiple copies of this, for which you will not be getting royalties, I would presume, unless a person, well, unless a guy gets really lucky and manages to have a hell of a hit, and then I'm sure the artist will be knocking at the door and saying, "Hey, man, can I perhaps have some of the royalties of that stuff?" Like he gets really a runaway hit. But as it is in the case of these things, if by any chance you get some to do some reprints, and hopefully, yes, over the future years you'll be able to sell more of these copies. I guess it generally artists end up just getting what they were paid for originally, isn't it? So it's fair enough to allow them to keep the art, and then they can always make a buck out of that if they want to.
Yeah,
But
yeah, it's kind of a case by case basis with us, but
uh
in this instance, like, once the campaign is funded and we see what the profit margins are, like, Sergio will be getting a cut of the profits from us.
oh yeah, that's also something that should always be arranged. Yeah, in case a
Of course.
person in case you break the glass ceiling, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, offering original pages of the art is a very nice perk, and obviously you can substantially grow your funding pot. So it's always something that, as I'm thinking on how am I going to work with this. Because in my particular case, I'm also now finding myself hiring out a series of artists. I'm also thinking, I'm I should include a few pages, a few artboards as perks, and obviously there has to be an agreement between you and the artist. Divide the profit like you just mentioned.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, totally. Like, just iron all that stuff out in the contract with the artist. Like, if part of the fee you're paying your artist is the transfer of ownership of the original artwork itself, like, that should be clearly listed, and the artist should be aware of that going into the work.
all right. Is everybody? I don't know. I'll drop this question here as well. Anybody
It's
wants
all
to
good.
wants to comment in the comments? Is at this level, is everybody doing contracts with artists? I mean, for example, in your case, do you always do that?
When 90% of the time, yes. Again, like, Sergio is kind of family, so it's kind of a verbal contract with us. But
All right. Okay.
when it's someone that we don't know, yeah, there's always contracts.
Awesome. Or like you say, if it's something that you're familiar with, just something over an email will do, isn't it?
Yeah, totally, totally.
Awesome. Cool. Okay. So you guys, just going back here again, just to have a look at your funding total here, your goal. So you guys have a six guy goal, $6,000, and this is a 30 days campaign.
Yeah, we have the option to extend it once if we need to, but
Yeah.
the way we're tracking so far, we're kind of on schedule, and we're hoping we won't need to.
Awesome. Okay. Okay. So for anyone out there, Samurai and Dinosaurs, 110 pages graphic novel, funding right now for 19 more days only, and that's 2.5 grand already covered, but you still got a little bit of way to go. So let's hope you guys fund this. Okay. So and then passing this Dinosaur and Samurai, what else you guys have planned in terms of? I know you already went briefly over that, but what else you guys have planned in terms of future graphic novels?
Yeah, totally. I'm happy to talk about some of that stuff. For the remainder of this year, our big focus after Samurai is going to be The Gods Fear Me. And to give a real brief pitch on that, it's a dystopian science fiction story with Lovecraftian overtones. The main protagonist is an android, and her role is, while humanity is kind of in deep stasis, she roams the earth and uh, dispatches these giant monsters who are Lovecraftian in nature, but not necessarily directly from Lovecraft fiction.
Hmm. And is that going to
Um,
be? That's the graphic novel?
well, so we're planning on launching that as a 32-page comic, one of three.
Oh,
And depending on the funding, we may increase that page count. And if we get to the point where the funding is high enough, like, we'll just release all three parts as one book. So it'll essentially be another graphic novel.
awesome. And is that going to be in colors? That one sounds like something that asks for colors.
Oh yeah, yeah. It'll be in full color, and we have an artist lined up. I just have to be able to secure his schedule and page rate, and once all that's locked into place, we're definitely going to be promoting it big.
Got you, man. Got you. Uh, Past that, anything else on the horizon for the next few months or next few years?
Yeah, so specifically within Comicsgate, people have been talking about how one of the genres that's kind of lacking is kids books, or at least, all ages appropriate stuff. And so heading into 2020, my wife and I want to try to launch one or two books that'll kind of, fill that niche.
Hmm.
So one of them would be, a revised, expanded version of For Hire, our free comic book day book. And the other possibility is a book called I Go Bump,
Hmm.
and that's about a girl who falls in love with a ghost. Essentially, just imagine if Wednesday Addams fell in love with Casper the ghost, and they were living in the hotel from The Shining.
Wednesday Adams, man. Let me see. I don't know what that is. Let me do a quick search here.
Oh yeah, man, you gotta
Wednesday
up your Addams
Addams.
family knowledge.
All right. Okay. Okay. I mean, what was her name? She became quite a hottie, isn't it? Christina Ricci. That's right.
Yeah, Christina Ricci.
Christina Ricci. She's great in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
This hippie, this hippie SJW with their penguins.
Totally.
I mean, the whole movie is amazing. And that should be shown on TV every single day.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's a favorite here.
Got you. So the little girl from the Adams family meets Caspar. Okay, got you. All right, awesome.
Yeah, so those are two possibilities for next year, and we have like one or two other proposed books, but like that's really far out at this point. So I guess like focusing on like the all ages market and
Mhm.
running with The Gods Fear Me is what's up in the immediate future.
Yeah. Okay, man. Listen, I really I love your cover very much for Samurai and Dinosaur. I mean,
Thank
I
you.
presume that's the cover, right? With the Tyrannosaurus Rex and the sword,
Yeah.
the samurai sword, the katana sword, right there in the forefront,
Yep.
and yeah, and it really has that kind of manga feel. Nice and blocky. The more pages, the better. And I mean, you guys, I just realized here just a little while ago, you guys were doing another campaign for this book recently. Is that correct? Or is this misinformation?
No, no, no. So a lot of we did have a first campaign for it, and
Right.
a lot of what went wrong with it was completely on my shoulders. Because of Sergio's schedule, I felt an obligation to try to get it out there as soon as possible.
Right.
And yeah, like the lesson I learned from it is never launch a campaign a week and a half before Christmas.
Right, got you. Okay, because I had seen these pages before or on social media. I seen you guys kind of advertising the book for some time,
Right.
and then I came across a campaign for it. I mean, an Indiegogo campaign, and again, it was within these last couple of months, probably December. Uh, but then it kind of went off my radar, and now I've seen it again a couple of weeks ago. And I thought it was the same campaign, maybe a 60 days campaign or something like that. And but I just realized you guys, so you guys went ahead with something just before Christmas, and then what? You stopped it, or you let it run until the end?
No, we let it run till the end, and we didn't reach funding. Like it's winter is a really bad time to launch a book.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so we learned that lesson, and if anything, what was helpful about the first campaign is it really helped us build an audience. Like even
Mhm.
though we didn't hit the numbers that we needed, we did gain a following. It's just a lot of that following wasn't aware of the book until it was too late.
Yeah, well, it's whatever. Well, what happens to you is the same that happens to everybody. I mean, yeah, there's degrees of exposure.
Right.
So it's like painting a wall. You do the first passage and you think it's fine, and then you let it dry, and you just realize now it's a bunch of stains I haven't covered, and there you go, second hand on the wall, second passage of paint, and then you get to cover more and more, and then you finally get there.
Right.
But you guys are tracking well now. I mean, I really don't know what's the best time of the year to do these things. I kind of presume that December will probably be kind of instead of being a no-go time of the year, I'll probably say it's a no-brainer time of the year because everybody's in that spending money attitude, and sometimes they don't really have any ideas for presents, and they go on crowdfunding and they purchase something that maybe a cousin likes or something. Then again, that kind of poses a question that for people that are quite preemptive in terms of how to purchase their presents. They most likely will be purchasing stuff to give on Christmas, obviously in October or the latest by November, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so, obviously, if they're going to go for something like this, well, then it has to be a product that has shipped before, most likely before a couple of weeks before Christmas. Otherwise, it gets stuck in the mail and then it's a big problem. So that's
Yeah.
the only thing I would say. It's a good time. It's a good time of the year for people to spend money, but at the same time, they spend money for those weeks, not for something that they want to get back in April next year.
Exactly.
So that kind of
Exactly.
defeats the purpose, isn't it? Uh, Beyond that, I really don't know what are the best times of the year. I mean, is it summer? Is the beginning of summer a good time when kids get off college and school and they have some spending money? Could that be a good
Yeah.
time of the year? May,
Yeah,
perhaps?
like I was listening to a bit of Ethan Van Sciver's stream earlier, and even he was saying like the sweet spot is somewhere between like March and midsummer.
March and midsummer. Got you. Okay. Well, we're in March now,
Yeah.
so avoid the last few months of the year. Is that the
Y-
consensus?
Yeah, moving forward, we're never going to launch a crowdfunding campaign past like September or October at the absolute latest. But it'll probably be, like August-ish at the latest that we'd run something.
Yeah, I mean, kind of September doesn't work either, isn't it? September and October because then the kids go back to school, and they're usually everybody goes back to work and back to school after August, isn't it? And it just becomes a bit of a tour. People are not on crowdfunding, looking to spend money during September and October, isn't it? They're very demanding months work wise.
Yeah,
Um,
and then you're heading into
yeah, December. Yeah.
Halloween and Thanksgiving. So yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know about the sweet spots. I mean, the thing is that if you have already a built-in fan base, if you're a big name, then you don't need to worry. Isn't it? I
Oh
mean,
right. Right.
any time of the year is a good time. So obviously, coming from other indie creators that are all struggling in the mud is always good advice. But again, if you're a powerhouse, you take the advice with a grain of salt. But you know, y- if you really are a top cat, you can do a crowdfund any time of the year. You're gonna fund. So it doesn't, like Brian Pulido. It doesn't matter when he does another crowdfund for Lady Death. I mean, the Rob Liefeld, doesn't matter. Everybody's gonna show up, even if it is on the 1st of January or the 31st of December, and people are handing off to the party. That they're still gonna drop by and give some money to Brian Pulido. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, yeah, man. I heard you guys had some problem there with that with the pariah that is on Twitter all the time, kind of well, I won't say she's criticizing or kind of lifting waves against indie comic creators, but indie comic creators end up being on her radar, and then by association, they usually end up getting a kind of mouth washed by her. But it's Ran famous. She was saying she put it your project down or something. Again, that's something I heard when I was doing the homework for our show today.
Yeah, like it's funny. It started she didn't mention us by name, but like there was a post that was circulating that I saw from someone's retweet, and she was basically talking about all the Indiegogo books that didn't get funded,
Oh,
and saying derogatory things about the people associated with those books. And I'm like, well, that's us that you're talking about. But
yeah.
like we avoided the drama, and then last night my wife noticed that she was kind of snooping around my wife's Twitter profile, and commenting in certain tweets that my wife was making in regards to promoting Samurai Dinosaurs. So like we're definitely on her radar, and we're just trying our best to
Hmm.
avoid all of that drama.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but that isn't good. I mean, if she's coming on the Twitter of your wife, and actually she's then she's actually mentioning you guys by name. So that's throwing shade. Again, that's not
Right, right.
not very nice. But what can we do? Once you that's the problem with the internet. When we try to plug a book, we get ourselves out there, and from that moment onwards, we exist. Meaning
Yep,
everyone can see you. You're out of your hole. You're one of those mammals that has risked himself out of his hole, and all the
right,
predators can see you. Oh, there you go. There's another that's another target. So you become a public figure, you like it or not.
right.
That's the great thing about ignorance being bliss, meaning if you never actually do anything, nobody ever notices you, and you can actually get away. You can survive. But the moment you actually try to do something and get yourself out there, well, that's it. You're a target. So it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
it's that thing. You just got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah, man. That's it. All right, cool. Yeah, I don't know really if you want to share any work on your side. I mean, I obviously everybody's seen screen share the campaign. If you want to show us any other pages, you're quite welcome to. But you would have to share it on your side, screen
Sure.
share.
Uh,
Um,
no, no, I'm good, man. Like, like what you covered with the campaign itself was excellent, and that's pretty much all the bullet points.
that's right. Cool. Okay, man. So we're gonna leave it at here today. Thank you very much for coming over.
It was my
And
pleasure.
so once again, this is Samurai and Dinosaurs, and available on Indiegogo. So anyone wanting to go and check it out by themselves and do a direct search, just type in Samurai, so it's a singular name, and Dinosaurs. And that's a graphic novel available on Indiegogo. You guys have 19 more days to go. Um, black and white, kind of manga-ish inspired graphic novel. And you guys have many more projects to come, and you really need to get this out there, get some fans in, and so you obviously you can establish this storefront for your future projects, which is great. So you hopefully dedicate yourselves to this 24 hours. I mean, as your main occupation.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's the plan, and thanks so much, man.
Okay, man. So that's all for now, and just gonna drop in here a link for this on the description. So with us, it was Mike Murphy talking about his graphic novel. And thank you for everybody listening to this. So do subscribe to the channel. We're slowly but surely growing in subscribers. I try to bring in, every single guy that has a project out there, no matter how big and no matter how small. I try to bring here, give them a little bit of exposure. If not, it'll be at least their 15 minutes of glory if nothing else happens. But hopefully everybody that comes on here goes on to big and better breaks. And we also have other interviews with with other veterans of the industry, of the comic book industry, and other streams, drawing streams here as well every Friday with some other guests. And so tune in, and for that, subscribe to the channel and like all the videos and drop in some comments. Call us idiots, call us retards. Doesn't matter. Just drop in some some comments. So, thank you very much, Mike, and good luck. And we'll see you all again another time.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Another time.